Man, what's up, man? Y'all know how I do. Sometimes I just do some random stuff, man. I was up, I can't sleep sometime at this time of night. It's just kind of random for me. I guess I got insomnia or whatever. Just depends. But I was just looking at some YouTube videos and then I ran across this one video. Um it's from More Perfect Union, and it was entitled Private Equity's Ruthless Takeover of the Last Affordable Housing in America. So don't get caught up on who you see in the video. Just pay attention to what you hearing and what you seeing and what you listening to. That's what you need to focus on. Check this out.
I worked my whole life, and this is what it comes down to? Some greedy person wanting his big chunk out of what little bit I had.
How much longer can you afford to live in your home?
1 month. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Hope that I don't wake up tomorrow. That's crossed my mind.
One of the most important forms of affordable housing is under threat. They're called manufactured housing communities. You might know them as mobile home parks or trailer parks, and they often get a bad rap. But 22 million Americans call them home for a reason.
We're pretty much the last oasis of affordable housing in this country.
These parks are at the foundation of America's housing market, often the last line of defense against homelessness. But over the last decade, these communities have become the target of a new kind of landlord: private equity.
Private equity firms are increasingly getting involved.
Some of the biggest investors in America have moved into this industry.
People living in a local mobile home park outraged over the sharp increase in lot rent.
Rents were raised by nearly 60%.
Their rent could increase by thousands of dollars a year.
A group of mobile home residents are protesting their living conditions.
It's like you genetically bred a superior predator and let him loose in a target-rich environment. This is actually a good day. Sometimes it's like mud.
Now, when you seen that, I don't know what you thought it was, but eventually you're gonna see what it is later on in this video. Now, it came to a point when I realized what it was, I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, dog. After all of this, y'all supposed to be investing in these people, quote unquote, but you're really not. You're really just there just to drive them out and raise prices.
Corporation is putting profits ahead of the safety and welfare of our local citizens, and this we will not allow.
So why have manufactured homes become private equity's latest target? And what can be done to save one of the last forms of affordable housing in the country?
I've lived in manufactured homes for 50 years, maybe more.
Madeline Beckett lives in a park outside of Lansing, Michigan.
This park was run the way a good park should be run, by the same couple for years and years and years. They were a little stern, or she was a little stern. She was a lot stern, but nobody pulled any punches with her.
Like most people in manufactured housing, Madeline owns her home, but pays monthly rent to the park owner for the land it sits on.
When I retired, I looked at my money and my situation, and I'm like, okay, great. I knew what the rent was. It was a third of my income. I don't live high on the hog, I'm not going to Paris anytime soon. And then the conglomerate came in and offered, apparently, the owner money that he couldn't resist. I looked it up and I went, oh dear, I think we are in trouble.
3 years ago, a private equity firm bought Madeline's community and later sold to another firm. Since then, her monthly rent plus fees have jumped 50%.
Instead of what I...
See, man, you got to think about stuff like that. This is not just these mobile homes. This is housing all over the country. I mean, jumping by 50%. How is that even possible when most people don't even make that much, let alone the 3 times of rent in some places that you have to make just to even qualify? and then they jump it up 50% of what the price of it already is, you're going to eventually have a lot of homeless people if you just do simple math. You know, I think sometimes we do kind of get caught up in this whole black and white thing when we don't realize that it gets even deeper than that. It's something even more sinister that's taking place that we don't even realize what's going on. People are actually out here to ruin people on purpose. American people, and you got government officials that's just letting it happen because their palms are getting greased. While we sit back and fight over who's this, who's that, who runs this, who runs that, who's in charge over here, who's in charge over there, they just sitting back laughing, taking profits. And if they don't get to take profits, then they get to take the land. They in a win-win situation, and we down here fighting over some bullshit.
Thought the rent was going to be, it's $200 more. I have nowhere to go. Just the other day, my daughter went with me to the food bank, and I hadn't done that before. I haven't been poor. I worked for 45 years. There is no American dream anymore. All it is survival.
That don't bother people when they hear stuff like that? That ain't even the first time I've heard that. You know why it's not the first time I heard that? Because I feel the same way. I feel like there is no American dream no more. Why you think so many people in our society have just become so cutthroat and nasty? Because they have realized that there's no way to get to the top but to step on somebody else. Only way you can get what you want, you have to step on somebody else. That's it. So just like we just had this CEO of United Healthcare get killed, I don't understand why they don't think that all of these things are adding up to making a more disgruntled society where you're gonna have more and more of these incidents taking place. People are really getting fed up with this. And at some point, it's gonna break. It's gonna be a big break. And we're gonna have to come to some type of realization that it ain't just the small man. We need to look up. It's folks at the top that's doing all of these things to us, and they need to be held accountable. See, they don't want to hear stuff like that. That's what they really don't want to hear. And it's sad because a lot of those people are people that we voted in to do things for us. And by the time they get there, they get fat because somebody is feeding them dollar bills to go against everything that we put them in office to do.
During the pandemic, institutional investors started to buy more manufactured housing than ever before. Between 2020 and 2021, they made nearly a quarter of all manufactured home purchases in the U.S. Today, 12 private equity firms own at least 1,200 parks nationwide, according to the Private Equity Stakeholder Project. In Michigan, private equity owns 1 in every 10 parks.
There is an overall trend in our economy to identify who has the fewest choices and then squeeze them.
Paul Terranova organizes manufactured housing residents in Michigan.
The land of the free, the home of the brave. And these people out to get you. They talking about finding people with the fewest choices so they can squeeze you. The greatest country in the world. And they letting stuff like this happen. They ain't even trying to stop it. This is why I get mad, because everything ain't for fucking profit. Like, that's one of the things that I get so sick of in this society. Everything ain't for fucking profit, bro. People's lives are not for profit. These people will not even come up with cures for things because they make more money on with the symptoms, giving you some medications for your symptoms. Or you got a cold, let's give you some medication, so you can get rid of that cough. You still sick. Just take this. Oh, you got cancer? Now, we can't figure out a cure for cancer. We can send you somewhere that's going to cost you a lot of money to get rid of all the symptoms. We can give you some type of therapy, some chemotherapy. We can give you some medication that you're going to have to buy from us for the rest of your life to hold it at bay. I don't know how you can't be frustrated with shit like this.
While folks often call them mobile homes, they're not really particularly mobile. Wall Street investors, private equity firms, hedge funds kind of figured out that folks living in manufactured housing communities are trapped. They can't move.
It costs $10,000 to $20,000 to move one of these homes, and most people who live in them can't afford that.
If you think about the fact that the average manufactured housing resident lives on about $35,000 a year, that's generally out of people's range.
Because they can't move, they're uniquely vulnerable to predatory landlords who can charge the highest rent residents can bear.
There's a guy named Frank Rolfe who runs something called Manufactured Housing University.
Okay, we're now at her second park. We're getting out again. So here we are.
He was quoted saying something along the lines of, owning a mobile home park is like owning a Waffle House and having your customers chained to the booth.
The big thing is they can really...
It's crazy how they can even just say this stuff outright. Like, it don't matter. We can talk about how we gonna screw somebody over. It don't matter. We don't give a fuck. Who gonna stop us? The government? The elected officials gonna stop us? How? When we pay them. Man, we can't lose. Y'all gonna lose. It's amazing what they say right in your face. It's amazing.
Tolerate rent increases really well. And it pretty much works throughout America because there's so much need for affordable housing right now.
That business model, a reliable stream of payments from captive tenants, is a big reason why these parks are so lucrative, providing investors with one of the highest annual returns of any asset in real estate. Higher than offices, commercial, industrial, you name it.
Hey, trailer park.
This is a financial play to them. They don't care about us. They'd just as soon evict us, take our homes, and then rent them out to somebody else for $200 more.
Theo Gantos lives in a park near Flint, Michigan.
Man, there was a time in this country where stuff like that couldn't even take place. If somebody knew that a private equity firm or just anybody was doing something like that, people would be raising hell. Now, it's like sport. You got business models that pop up to perpetuate a lot of this stuff. Oh, let me start a business. It's basically getting over on somebody, but we're going to label it something real nice and sweet. We're going to put a bow on it. Nobody says anything. They just let it happen.
3 years ago, it was taken over by Homes of America, an affiliate of the hedge fund Alden Global Capital. Alden Global is best known for buying newspapers across the country and stripping their assets.
Yeah, we had a pool, before the Homes of America. We still pay the same amount as though we had a pool and as though we had a community center, but we have no community center either.
Since 2021, Homes of America has gone on a buying...
It is crazy. It's just like when people get those damn apartments and duplexes and whatever, and the rent's going up. And I always think to myself, I don't know how a lot of other people think, but I'm like, bro, those apartments have been there ever since I was a kid, even before that. How is the rent going up? Like, haven't they already made their money? Like, how much freaking money can you make? Of course, we know it's been sold to different companies and now they want to make some money off of it. But damn, Go over to some of these places. You know what you'll find out? Nothing's changed on the inside. Well, what did they do? Did they upgrade something? No, they just painted the walls and put some new carpet down. Now they want 200 more bucks. Oh, don't let them put some tile or something down or put some new appliances in there. Oh man, they want like $300 extra a month. Like they done something so extravagant for you. Now you living in luxury. Now it's a luxury apartment. They put tile down. You got a luxury apartment now. Congratulations.
Spree, spending nearly $300 million to acquire 138 parks across 17 states. They've raised rents and aggressively evicted residents. After years of neglect, only about 15% of the lots in Theo's Park are still occupied.
And who is Homes of America?
Homes of America is just a shell within a shell within a shell. Homes of America is Randy Smith.
Randall Smith is the founder and chief investment officer of Alden Global. He lives in Palm Beach, Florida. As of 2017, he owns 17 mansions. He has since sold 14 of them for a reported profit of $57 million.
Yeah, this is the plunder of private equity. This is what they do.
Okay, everybody ready? Everybody rolling? All right, good afternoon.
In August, the county prosecutor brought charges against Homes of America's local LLC for operating the park without a license. It's the first time that the owner of a manufactured housing park in Michigan has ever faced that criminal charge.
A key element in the North Morris Estate's inability to obtain a license is its seeming refusal to fix the park's water problem.
Well, when the water comes out like this, it kind of ruins your whole day.
Yeah.
Now, see, remember in the beginning when I showed you that water? Well, we didn't know it was water until now. Like their water is that bad. They raising rents, but they can't even do something as simple as to fix the water system in the trailer park. It's sad in this country when people got to deal with issues like that. Just like the whole Flint thing. Like they so cheap that they moved the water source and cost these people so many issues. Like somebody should have really went to jail behind that. I mean, in this country, the greatest country in the world, the greatest country ever, and we got issues with water that we can easily fix. But you know what's crazy is we can go to other countries and give them billions and billions of dollars like Joe Biden just keeps doing. We can go to countries and send troops and send aid and have people go over there and fix and repair all kind of things. But over here, we can't do it. We drag our feet. Or we let some business come in, like this company, treat the people bad and nobody does anything about it. Your own citizens. And they wonder why people are so disgruntled. They wonder why people get online and say that they hate the government and hate government officials. It's their guilty conscience. That's why they scared of people. That's why they're so scared of people getting together and talking about what they don't like about it. Just simple as that. Just simple stuff like that. Man, government officials will get scared. Oh, it's about to be an insurrection. They're plotting against us. Yeah, that's your guilty conscience knowing that you done screwed everybody over for so long. Now, if a little group of people get together and talk about it, you think that they plotting on you and they gonna do something to you. In our actuality, somebody might have to start taking some type of action. I'm not endorsing that. I'm not saying that's what they should go out and do. But in healthy societies, when the government doesn't treat people right, it's usually some type of uprising. I really don't care how that goes over with anybody. I don't care. It's just the facts.
hopefully will get the attention of the out-of-state corporation that owns this park and force its officers and directors to do the right thing for the residents of this community. It's clear to me this corporation is putting profits before people.
Honestly, the warrant should be to Randall Smith, CEO of Alden. But he's hidden himself behind multiple shell layers. So getting to him is hard.
These big companies buying up these communities now need some oversight, because right now they're free to abuse residents in pretty much every way they want.
Holly Hook lives 30 minutes away at another park, owned by private equity firm Haven Park Communities. That's the same company that bought Madeline's Park, and it owns 63 other parks across the country. In the last 6 years, Haven Park has doubled Holly's housing costs. To avoid homelessness, she's had to take on 2 roommates.
What power do you have right now in the existing legal structure to do anything about the rising rent or any of the fees?
There's absolutely no recourse right now. About a year after this started, it's like something just broke in me, and I started talking to some neighbors, saying we've got to gather and do something about this.
Residents were up in arms, and they started going to their local township council meetings and their city council meetings. And a few of them were able to make contact with a couple of state representatives, a Democrat named Senator John Cherry.
A lot of people from the district went up to him and told him about what Haven Park was doing, and that's what got him interested in drafting the bill package.
What the legislation tries to do in the broadest sense is to weed out the bad actors in the industry. What we're trying to do is make sure that folks don't get exploited. That's what this is about.
State Senator John Cherry is the sponsor of legislation that would protect residents from the worst abuses of predatory landlords. The bills were drafted in 2021 by a coalition of residents and advocates in direct negotiation with the landlord industry group.
It was a very collaborative process that actually included the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association.
The legislation would require landlords to justify any rent increase above the rate of inflation in front of a state commission. It would also limit the fees that landlords can charge, make utility charges transparent, require notification when a park is sold, and force landlords to pay fair market value for a home if a resident is evicted.
These are really modest protections, so it's not everything that we need right now. It's not gonna set the rents back to what they were.
But think about this. In this country, why should anybody even have to tell these people to do that? They got to tell you to be transparent about these bills, about these increases. We got to make laws for people to be transparent. I get it. But damn.
Or anything like that, but it would start to make things more fair. It would just be a modest start.
In the state's last legislative session, the legislation passed the House with overwhelming bipartisan support.
The bill is passed.
But then something changed.
In the early part of 2022, the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association did a 180, pulled their support, and it died in the Michigan State Senate. When we looked at the records, we did see that that coincided with the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association Political Action Committee suddenly getting some very big donations.
Over the course of a year, 2 Haven Park executives gave $358,000 to the industry PAC.
And that
ain't that some shit? Didn't I just say that? I mean, these people get their palms greased and they'll just sell you out. Be damned that you voted these people in there. Be damned that they came down to your communities and begged you to vote for them. Oh, they're going to change the system. They're going to fight for you. But the minute they get in there and somebody come with their check, they'll sell your ass out so fast.
That's right when the Manufactured Housing Association just totally pulled their support.
That money is some of the people that I know, that's their grocery money. That's their prescription copay. That's the medicine that they're doing without and the food that they're doing without because these people were gouging them.
The most vulnerable residents in Michigan are being taken advantage of. And some people have to choose between rising rent, medications, and food.
In February, Holly, Theo, and other residents went to the state capitol to lobby for a new version of the bill package.
I'm testifying in support of Senate Bills 486 through 490. There's no free market when residents are trapped.
Its fate will be decided in the upcoming legislative session, this September and October.
We have overwhelming support from the Democrats in the House, and we have some Republicans who've committed to support as well.
How many legislators would you say you've met with?
I would say at least 100 of them. We've met with almost all of the Michigan Senate or their staff, and now we're starting to work on the House.
Manufactured housing communities are just one type of property that large investors have targeted in recent years. But these parks are ground zero in a fight that affects all of us. The fight for meaningful control of our neighborhoods and for housing that people from all walks of life can afford.
Everybody deserves drinkable water, and everybody deserves to have affordable housing. We just want a livable place.
Thanks so much for...
It's just crazy that people have to ask for stuff like that in this country. Like, really, we really got to sit up here and beg our government to do this stuff. The greatest country on the face of the earth. We talking about the richest country. I just can't understand for the life of me, how can we help all these people and not help ourselves? It just doesn't make sense. Like the video we just saw, you seen how they treat people. The moment a lobby group or somebody comes in, they'll change on you so quick. They don't care about no bill they passed. They don't care about no type of legislation. It's all about who got that bread, who got that dollar bill, who gonna make me fat. Whoever can grease my palms, that's who we rolling with. Sell out your own people, your own constituents for a dollar bill. And the funny thing is, those same people will turn around the next time, the next cycle, and be asking you for your vote again. That's why I understand why people say they don't want to vote. I understand why people get disgruntled with this government and actually go out and do some of the things that they do. People get pissed off. Sometimes people snap. A lot of these things aren't just isolated incidents. It's going to increase over time. You keep it up, you keep pushing people to their limits, you're going to get more and more of this to occur. I seen a post where somebody said some CEOs have been increasing their security because they know. Look at the bullshit y'all got going on. Denying coverage for people. Y'all trying to turn a profit playing with folks' lives. There's nothing wrong with making money, but damn, do you have to just screw everybody over for a few people? I heard a guy that I watch on YouTube, Professor G, and he was like, man, I'll gladly pay more in taxes as a rich person. Because he knows that people who don't make a lot of money eventually will start to get to a point where they just like, screw it. It's more of us than it is of them. At some point, that's going to happen. I don't know when, but if they keep going down this path, that's exactly what's going to happen. And I'm not advocating anything. I'm just telling you like it is. It is what it is. But man, that's all I got. That's all I got, man. I just wanted to watch that video with y'all. Like I said, I usually be up late, kind of hard for me to sleep, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos, not necessarily pertaining to stuff that's like FBA or anything like that. Sometimes I like to watch videos where people talk about how the government is treating people. You know, what's going on in these small parts of the country that nobody really talks about. I like that kind of stuff. Just like I like history. But I like to know what's going on in places where people don't even really know what's going on. Just like that trailer park. Because that was just a symptom of what's really going on in this country. You got rents rising all over the place. You see how they moving those folks out, basically so they can just turn it into a shopping center or a mall. Or hell, if nobody ever moves them, we just gonna keep raising the rent on you. We'll just make money like that. That's happening everywhere. For the longest, it was just happening in these big cities. Now it's starting to come to places like where I'm at in these smaller cities. You like, damn, why is the rent going up? Well, I mean, hell, just look at the people who are moving to your cities. It's people moving from those big cities to these small cities now, thinking they can get cheaper rent. But then the landlords here are doing the same thing that's going on up there. Oh, everybody's moving. Let's raise the rent down here too. It's a sad situation, man. It's really sick. But yeah, when I watch this stuff, I get pretty pissed off. So I say, man, let me go make a video about it before I really lose my mind. But like I say, man, that's pretty much all I had. I just wanted to come on here and let everybody see, watch, and react to that video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Uh, if y'all want to check out the edited version, I will be putting it up on YouTube later on. Uh, as always, man, I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate y'all watching the channel. I appreciate y'all liking the video, reposting if you did. If you didn't, that's fine. But I'm going to catch y'all.